Yale is yet again a test-required institution. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me and how you can work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process on my website, which is collegemeister.com. Yale has made the announcement today that they are returning to being test required, but they're calling it test flexible. And this is interesting in the sense that, yes, you can and you probably should submit your SAT or ACT scores, since many students are already preparing for those tests and planning to focus on doing their best on those tests. However, if you are unable or unwilling to submit an SAT score or an ACT score under the new test flexible policy of Yale, you can also submit completed AP scores. So these are not scores that you think you're going to get after you sit for a particular exam. These are actually scores you have earned on real AP exams in the past. You can also submit completed earned IB exam scores. Now that's interesting because IB is a program that really only tests students at the end of the experience, at the end of the 2-year experience, at the end of senior year in most cases. And basically that means that for the students who are going to be able to submit actual IB scores, not predicted scores, but actual IB scores, those are going to be transfer applicants or students who took a gap year in most cases, because those scores aren't going to be available to the vast majority of IB students, IBDP students, until the May of their 12th grade year, far after the deadline to apply to Yale. So that's very interesting. Talk about inequities versus IB versus AP, but that's the way the IB is built, and that's the way the AP is built. You can start taking AP exams as early as basically 9th grade for most students, where schools offer AP courses in 9th grade. But that's the way it is. Yale is following Dartmouth, which instituted a similar but slightly different policy just last month when announcing that they are returning to being a test-required institution after being a test-optional institution since 2020. And more chips will likely fall in the direction of going back to requiring the SAT or ACT or some similar standardized measures to be considered for admission. Dartmouth included national testing in other countries as well as a potential carve-out, so as not to be able to focus exclusively on the SAT or ACT for students, let's say in Greece or Brazil, who have national tests. But Yale is giving the carve-out to AP and IB students. So those are the sort of defined distinctions between the two policies. But Yale, before the pandemic and before they went test optional, had a middle 80% test score of accepted students of between 31 and 36 on the ACT, and between 680 and 790 on the evidence-based reading and writing section of the SAT, and between 690 and 800 on the math section of the ACT. So good luck. Yale is a hard school to get into, and it will now become harder yet again because over the last few years, it was artificially easy to get into. Not easy in relative terms, but here we go. Yale is the second Ivy to do so. I predict a few more Ivies, at least 1 or 2 more Ivies will also join Dartmouth and Yale. Again, my predictions would be Princeton or Penn would probably come next as requiring SAT or ACT as early potentially as the 2024-2025 admission cycle, but only time will tell. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. And again, if you would like to work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process, go to my website, which is collegemeister.com. Ooh, we're shaking a little bit. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and most importantly, even though this news may be hard to take, stay stress-free throughout the entire college admissions process.